Okay, so you just got that fresh lead, right? And you run all the way out to the job to meet them and you talk through the project and then you go home and you write all the numbers out and you estimate the whole project and you send them the bid and they ghost you. Why? Well, you didn't talk about money on the first call. When you're talking to the prospect on your initial sales call, you need to talk money, like on that first call. You need to be able to know your numbers enough, unless, of course, there's some caveats, like if it's a really complex project or if there's a lot of site investigation that you need to do and stuff like that. But in most cases, you should be able to give a ballpark for their project on the initial call. Setting a ballpark budget, that's all we're talking about. There's a ballpark range, right? It's gonna be 325 grand to maybe 385 grand for your build out, Mr. Jones or whatever. So giving them this range is going to be a crucial step in setting up the success of this long-term relationship between you and your client. So in my opinion, the first call with the client, the whole point is for you to decide if you want to work together or not. Does the client want to keep talking to you? Do you want to keep talking to this client, right? So by giving them a ballpark price, you're establishing a relationship that's built on trust, reliability, reputation, knowledge, industry experience, and transparency, and aligning your expectations between you and the client. You're making sure we're both a good fit for each other, right? Now, by the way, I have a new product alert, super exciting. My quick ballpark estimating template is the first link in the description, and it's on jesselane.com. If you want to go there and check it out, you just download it once you buy it and you can open it in Excel. You can of course save it in Google Sheets as well, but it's going to take numbers. You'll see a data page and you can edit those data numbers, but on the first page it's going to have a formula with some drop down menu items that you can click and select the complexity level of MEP roofing. So if you have advanced, simple, or intermediate, electrical or mechanical or plumbing, then you can adjust those parameters and you can tell this spreadsheet. It's really cool, actually. Just a rough idea of all of our past projects over the last 10 years in Florida. All right, here are some tips to actually discussing these ballpark numbers with the client. You always want to provide expectations. You don't want to catch your clients by surprise. You don't want to just jump on the call and be like, all right, so yeah, I think it's about 100 grand. You know, you're like, no, the template email, once they fill out a form on your website and you look at that, you'll be like, okay, this is a project we might be looking to pursue. You can email them a list of stuff that you're going to go over on the call, like your design build process, like their expectations and how complex the MEP is. Is there a roofing scope? Is there a civil scope? What's the architectural? You know, you go over all the different project details, but you definitely want to be clear that one of those bullet points in there is we're going to discuss some rough ballpark pricing if it makes sense. You know, if we have enough data that we can gather on the call, you're not always going to gather all the data from certain types of clients that may not know if they need an extra electric panel or if they have, you know, where the plumbing is stubbed up currently. They might not know some of these things and you have to gather that data later, but you want to prep them, say, hey, if we can, the goal would be for us to kind of make sure that it makes sense to go to the next step. So provide that email to them and they're like, okay, cool. Can't wait for the call. Schedule a 20-minute meeting on Zoom or Google Meet. Then you hop on and you'll be like, you say it again, Mr. Client, thanks for hopping on. I'm Jesse Lane with J Lane Construction. You know, I'm here to hear about your project, your needs, your desires, and your wants for this project, because I'm here to deliver that to you if we can, if we're the right fit. Now, would you be okay with me discussing a little ballpark pricing if we can on this call? Then more than likely they're going to be like, oh yeah, I mean, that would be great, because they would love the information from you. So, you know, you say like, is it 1,000 square foot project or a 10,000 square foot project? It's a ground up, is it a remodel? What's the civil scope of work? You know, like how many walls do you actually need in the space? Anyway, as you get the idea to judge the complexity level across all the divisions, then it kind of calculates into a template, a calculation, and you can kind of give them based off your industry standards. And of course, you can download a quick ballpark spreadsheet, which will just totally streamline the whole process for you to know what to tell the client. So just always remember to ask permission. I think that's the main point. Just ask them permission. Be like, hey, do you mind if I give you this ballpark price? And then just get their permission. Remember to be super transparent, because misaligned expectations both ways, you know, like communication is a two-way street. What I'm putting out, you got to be picking up, and vice versa. You just want to make sure everything's aligned, because you don't want misaligned expectations, because that can lead to a disastrous future, you know, if you're not on the same page from the very start. The whole point of this call with the client is to qualify them, right? So sometimes a little sales technique, my secret, I like to shoot a little high sometimes on the ballpark. If the little ballpark spreadsheet is like 300 to 325 grand or like whatever it says, I'm like, yeah, I think your project may be around $350,000 or so. What does that sound like to you? Does that align with the budget you had in mind? $350,000 $350,000. I was hoping this would be $50,000. Or like, I got 20 grand saved up. I'm like, Mr. Jones, whatever. I don't think, that we're going to be able to handle it. Ultimately, you just respectfully decline the client and they'll understand, if you threw out 350 grand, they only have 50 grand, then there's a big misalignment. But if they're like, yeah, we thought it would be like 300 or 400 grand, like we're fine with that price, like what are the next steps? And you're like, oh snap, okay, all right, well, sign here, No, you want to, what do they need? Do they need drawings? And if they need drawings, then give them a design contract. It's very simple. Just like go to an architect, get a price, send them a design contract, they sign it. You design it. This is if they don't have drawings. Then you estimate the actual drawings, and hopefully you've helped the architect build the thing to where it actually aligns with your $300,000 price or so. And then you'd be like, hey, we actually got the designs done according to your budget. And then we estimated those designs and all the construction costs came out to $312,000 or whatever, and they're like, nice, like that's awesome. Like, you came in less and like, yeah, like you love me, get a great review. You still make a little money and rock and roll. Then you just go watch Jesse Lane YouTube channel or jesselane.com and buy like products on there and stuff in your free time. It's simple. So my friend, the ultimate thing is to know your costs, know your clients, qualify them in, and then rock and roll with growing your construction company, So give this video a like, subscribe if you're new, and check out jesselane.com. And we'll see you next week for next week's video. Peace.